How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rallet, and welcome back to a brand new video. Now, yesterday, guys, I promised you I was going to do a breakdown of everything we know about previouse. Now, previouse is the individual who did that leak we saw the other day, or actually 2 days ago now. He did a leak or not really a leak, rather, he posted a rumor, basically showing us that, like, okay, there's going to be a submerged Kanto, or telling us it's going to be a submerged pallet town, and that sort of stuff. So today I thought we'd revisit all of his original posts, all the stuff he posted in the past, revisit that stuff, look through it, and see what he said. So we'll start with the original post that he posted, which is the one on the screen right here. So the first one here says, "You guys don't believe leaks coming from Western countries. Trust me, at this stage here in Europe, we only get text for translations with no information on characters or the game themselves. The funny part is that they divide us in loads of little teams, so they can't understand what is going on in the main story. The only real leaks you get are from Asia, or after the games have been announced and the testers get the beta copies. The part I enjoy of my job is when we actually see the parts of the script we translate in the real game. Anyways, as we started on late December, I think it's good guess to say that the games will be announced soon, so keep strong just a little more." Now, he said this back in February of this year. In February, he posted this originally, and then he just says, people just start responding here, December of what? And he answered a bunch of questions here, and the thing is, what's really interesting about this, and the reason why I personally, didn't really trust it at the start was because I was like, why would we trust this guy? How do we know he actually works there? Well, we'll get to that, because he posted things showing what he works on a bit over time. You know, he showed us little titty little bits, like itsy-bitsy things here and there he showed us. And one thing that I didn't know about, which is something that I got confirmed at a later time from Pokisarena, is that basically previouse describes the kind of process of translating for Game Freak. He describes it exactly like it is. Now, how do we know he does it exactly like it is? Because Pokisarena knows people that are actual leakers, and also that she knows some of the Riddlers. But she knows people from the Rainbow Rocket team, now the Rainbow Rocket group, or whatever you want to call them, or the uncles, so to say. Now, the guys who are the Rainbow Rocket people, they're the individuals who leaked Pokemon, or like Rainbow Rocket in Ultra Sun and Moon. They were the people who leaked Rainbow Rocket in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. They leaked that shit. So that's why I want to kind of point this out. So, a leak on 4chan back on the 11th, and then he shows an image here, said the following: "A new battle facility in the plaza that functions like the factory. RR, Rainbow Rocket, kidnaps Lily and you-know-who's mother. RR summons past game bosses from realities they've won, and they use legendaries, beat all of them to rescue you-know-who. Gen 1 grass poison type gets a Lola form. Mulaney is Elite 4. So why bring this leak up? Because according to the Crobateer on Bulbapedia, this leak has supports of the Riddler himself, of his Weibo, basically Chinese Twitter. This leak is also backed up by a picture of Masuda's Twitter, which shows him along with all team bosses, the aces, and then you can also see that as well. So here's why we trust him, because it actually turned out real. This was real, and you can see right here, here's an image of the actual post itself. You can see right here, so I'm just copying and pasting. There's a new battle facility, and he just talks a little bit about that. So who are these people? Well, they are the uncles, so to say, or the Rainbow Rocket people. They're the individuals who essentially had access to this information. Now, as you may notice, there was a thing that they got wrong, which is the Alolan grass type Alolan form thing, which could be like something that didn't come originally from them, because keep in mind, things are lost in translation and things get changed and people add in stuff. For example, an example of how people change stuff is the E3 leaks, or the E3 rumor leaks that we got like the other day, as you guys may remember, that said like, oh, we're going to have these and these and these and these games from Nintendo, but then somebody took that information and literally just kind of reworked it slightly and posted it on a different website like Game FAQs, and they changed it slightly and added extra things in. For example, for the Pokemon section, they added in something like a KANTO reboot, which was never in the original post or the original rumor/leak that was posted. So my point here is that this could have been changed over time. So the part where they said like Mulaney's Elite 4 or like Gen 1 grass poison type gets an Alola form, that stuff could have been added by somebody else over time, because the information changes the more it passes along and the more people post it or repost it, so to say. So what do I want to say here? Basically, these people have credibility. The Rainbow Rocket people have credibility, and they confirmed to Pokisarena essentially that this is real. Like, the way he describes how the translation teams work is correct. He is correct about it. He's describing it properly. Now, as for him saying we should see it like sooner or later, the games will be announced soon, whether like soon is a month, a week, a year? I don't know. Like, it could be whenever, but like, I don't know, guys. Everything changes. So if this individual is real, this is Piyuk, by the way. If he was right here, if he's correct, then maybe he was wrong about when they would, like, show us the game and that sort of stuff, because he's only doing translation, so he wouldn't know when the games would be actually shown, because there's a lot of marketing, promotional stuff that needs to be done first. But that's besides the point. So we're done with that. Now we go over to Piyuk's actual, like, kind of a little database of things that Piyuk has kind of posted and said. And you can see here on the screen, guys. By the way, I'll link every single one of these things down in the description in order of the way I've talked about them. I'll link them down below. So first thing first here is the post we saw recently. So that was the one from Piyuk where it's hundreds of years ago, this submerged town gave birth to one of the most famous trainers of all time. Its name was Pallet Town. That was one of the things he posted, the most recent thing he posted. And then you can go down here, you can see a bunch of things. I'll go from the bottom up right now to show you how things kind of work their way up. Now, keep in mind, here he mentions Pallet Town and essentially Kanto, and that it's submerged underwater, so to say. A town submerged that gave birth to the most famous trainer of all time. It was Pallet Town. He says this, but if you go to the bottom right here, to one of his most original posts, right here on the top here, not the first one at the bottom, which I'll read in a second as well, but this one, he says the region is definitely not Kanto. So I'm a bit torn right now. This is the thing I mentioned in a tweet that I made earlier today where I was saying, like, I don't really know if this Piyuk stuff, it's kind of getting sketchy to me, because why would he say it's definitely not Kanto, unless maybe in the translation work he was doing, there was no mentions of Kanto, and that's why he's saying it. But I don't know. It's really strange to me. But now he's mentioning Pallet Town. Maybe they've been doing, like, translation work, like new translation work, and maybe in this new translation work, they have been getting mentions of Kanto and stuff. But in the original ones, there was no mentions, because keep in mind, he mentions things being submerged. So I assume if one area of Kanto gets submerged, then a new area must pop up, because that's what volcanoes usually do. I mean, including with a volcano, there's usually earthquakes and that sort of stuff. So I could imagine if Pallet Town's going down, a new island would pop up. And he does talk about a new island in his original leaks and stuff. That's what he mainly does. He talks about a brand new island, about some new character, and also the name of the island and that sort of stuff, which we'll go through slowly here, one by one, just to kind of get through them. So let's start with this, right? Hi, guys. I missed a few questions from the previous thread. I'm going to answer them, and of course, I will be still around if you have more questions about translation process. After this thread, I will show up in I will show up in March if I will have more information. Hopefully the games will be revealed in the meantime. So the games have yet to be revealed, but he is correct though. He did show up again in March, so this is correct. He did show up again with new information. Then he said here back in the 17th of February, he said the region is definitely not Kanto. I can't quantify how much, but considering the length of the scripts and the fact that they are stuck in the same location, the story should be longer than Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I also explained I don't know the title of games and the names of the locations you will find in other parts of the games except for my script. No Lola references in my script mates, so I can't predict this. Regarding the Spinda part, I can give you more details, but it will be kind of self-explanatory what he said here. Now, I want to bring this up because what he mentions here about the Spinda, there's going to be a Spinda type of thing. This relates back to something that was told to us by the Japanese Riddler. So you guys may remember me making a video on this, guys. I talked about it and I showed a few specific images. One of these images was this one right here, this image. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, basically, when I talked about this back then, I talked that, like, the Japanese Riddler had told people that are, like, people like Pokisarena and stuff, that basically there's going to be a new alternative form to shiny Pokemon. Now, keep in mind, we've had the thing about Ultra Shiny, that's been trademarked by Nintendo, Game Freak, and Creatures Inc. That's been trademarked, so Ultra Shiny's been trademarked. Then on the top of that, we also have the Japanese Riddler saying there's going to be a new form of shinies, and on top of that, we also have our boy Piyuk saying there's going to be something regarding, like, kind of a Spinda spin-off, kind of say, like a, not Spinda, but like Pokemon that kind of had the same thing to them, like Spinda. Think shiny Pokemon, or like a, think like Charizard, but instead of a normal Charizard with its normal color pattern, it's going to maybe have stripes and whatnot on it to kind of change how it slightly looks like, so it looks slightly different. Think like the first Pokemon movie, where you have the cloned Pokemon that have those, like, weird markings and stuff, but then you have the original Pokemon that look normal. So that's kind of what I'm thinking that he's trying to say here. Then it says, ciao, no mate, I don't work for the Pokemon company, so don't have access to this kind of info, I'm afraid. And he was mainly answering questions here. I didn't see gameplay, translators have only access to textual content, unfortunately. I don't have an answer for this, and he's just answering questions here, like, mainly. He's answering things like, you know, what's it all about, no Ultra Beast mentions, no information regarding new evolution. So the evolution thing, he never said that was a thing, which people were speculating and thinking it was going to happen, but it didn't happen. And he was saying here there is no mentions about it, even back then, back in like, February, he was mentioning this sort of stuff. And he was saying you'll see it soon. As I said, arenas, so apparently there is more than one, sound more like a battle royale facility where you experience a different style of battle, unless they will, for example, use arena as the new official online battling format. So what he's mentioning here is, from his original post, like his original kind of rumor list, he mentions stuff like, an arena where you can meet up, almost like a little hub area, similar to what you have in like Destiny and that sort of stuff, or even in Pokemon as well, you could say, but this one would be slightly more interactive. Then he also goes through a few more things here. He says, nope, nothing pointing to a new type in my script. I don't see anything matching with the new with the few Pokemon descriptions I have. A big island is part or the whole of the region. There is a massive jungle, he apparently mentions, which is something we already know as well. He says also here, no Mew references, nothing like that in my script. It can be the arena battles or something else. I don't have access to the scripts for the later games, so probably if they will introduce a new Pokemon mechanic, it'll be mentioned later. I'm a little dumb, but not totally stupid. I only shared with you the squared bracket names. They only have that have already been approved and made official for the teams. This means that I can't be pursued for those kind of information. The remaining information I shared are reoccurring information and are very likely to be shared within the first reveal. Of course, if any complaint will happen, I will assume all the responsibilities. So he talks about people saying like, oh, how are you leaking this stuff? If you could get in trouble, why would you do this? You're lying to us. And that sort of stuff. And here is a post that you can see the image is missing from, but I actually have the post right here. So I'll read the text and then I'll show you the image as well, which I think I have somewhere. I mean, I'm not really sure. Right here, there we go. I do have the image right there. So I'll read the post itself. So he says, hi guys, as you probably remember from my previous threads, beginning of this week is going to be the first submission deadline for the translations, at least for the European teams working on the same contractual formula. Well, when we logged on to the project submission interface, we run a quick inspect element trick, as there are a few suspicious spaces in the header. One of them was broken image named Pokemon U and Pokemon Me. I'm not claiming these to be the title of the games. They can be code names, interface design, aborted elements, or link to a future facility for translators, etc. Or example here, an encrypted database for official names as it's happened already for Ultra Sun and Moon. I'm not going to lie, when we saw those names, even if lame, more than a bell rang, and there is something in the script fitting perfectly, but it can be coincidence, of course. That's all. I just want to share this odd thing with you. So here he mentions the whole you and me thing, and you can see there is the image itself, or how it looks like the original post, and he says here few but safe information, or few but safe info to kind of share with us. And here's the image itself that he shared, and he says something about like stats boost for weaker Pokemon with some sort of turbo ability. Bad Snake needs rare Pokemon eggs as a tribute. Inner strength personification. Brothers plot twist. Collect light so to ensure nourishment for a Abyss creature. Cooperative spirit personification. Then you have like traveling to something like a US there with a, like, I don't know, airplane, and people were speculating this was going to be a Sri Lanka freaking region, which people are like saying, that seems like very unlikely, but he's mentioning there's only one island so far in the translation he's done. It's only been mentioned one island. Now, here's the thing, as we kind of continue through his posts, we will notice that things started to change a bit here. You will notice with this latest post, it seems like there is an island, the main island that he was translating for, but now new things are happening. So let's continue here. So here he says, with the latest post, which is this one right here, this image, he says, hi friends, I hope you're all doing fine. A few weeks ago, I shared information regarding scripts I was translating together with my team, and I promised to come back here only in case I had a few more details. Surprisingly, the new scripts have been circulating slightly earlier than expected. I know for sure that one of the teams got their second document during the first week of March, while we had to wait a little longer. Now, I'll be very honest with you. The amount of info I have now is now quite big, and I'm not intending to attire attention with too many details. The only thing I will share with you are the following. There is an airport, turbo mechanics, so an airport would make sense if you are on mainly one island at first, an island that could be based on something like Sri Lanka. You would travel then to Kanto, for example. This is something that we've heard about before. Like, there has been hints towards like something like a travel to Kanto several times, and we know that you fly to different regions from Kanto with an airplane, unless you're taking a boat, like, from maybe, Kanto to Johto, that sort of stuff. I get that part of things, but generally you would fly there, so it would make sense that maybe you fly from a smaller region, a small place where you start from, you fly to this, Kanto that you've never been to, this new place, so to say, that's not your home island, so to say, or your hometown or your home region. Then he also mentions turbo mechanics, stats boost for weaker Pokemon, Snake Brothers, one bad, one good, and vice versa. Evil Team is building huge towns so to attract people from the villages and empty the islands, or the island itself. More details in attached image, they should be self-explanatory, but sorry for the amount of I'm not going to reply to questions. I'll be back after game announcement for details related to what will be shown. Just remember the snakes and the big island, you'll know that these infos are genuine. Best wishes, my guys. Okay, thank you. Now, again, we haven't gotten a reveal yet, which is why there is an issue with everything he's been saying. So he gives us a goodbye message here. Hi again, guys. Just to give you a heads up, a few guys within our translation team have been asked to move into our international website content, so to support the editors and web managers for planned upcoming updates. This type of project runs in parallel with the script's translation, and it is indeed a clear sign that something big is going to happen soon. So he said this back in April, which is now, it's been a month, well over a month now since then. And it's not just about the movie. There are a few regional coordinators managing the whole process: Continental Europe, United Kingdom, US and Canada, rest of America, Australia, and 3 for Asia. And for what I heard, that's one of the most stressful positions to cover, as they take all the blame if something goes wrong. This happened several times in the past, where the miscoordination between macro regions led to the publication of too much information on the German official website, or Taiwan anticipating stuff days before the go-ahead. Now, anyway, I took the advantage to tell you the most of the assumptions you made in the relation to the image, and I posted a while ago sound correct to me. After today, I'm going to stop posting here, as quietly soon there will be facts to speak for me. Following the announcement, I'll be very happy to contact privately who's in charge of some Pokemon specialized websites and share some extra information. Nothing big, of course, but don't expect a whole Pokedex or in-game screenshots in case they will show interest. I'll share my 4chan password so they can test the trip. I will feel much more protected in that way. So he said that, and then before leaving, I have an odd question for you. How your room looks. I've been fascinated thinking about how people's rooms look like. In a way, a room is a mirror of your soul. And then he just talks a little bit about his room here, and then he shows an image here of his room, which is very strange, by the way. I'm going to point that out right now. It's a very strange thing, and there are Pokemon things on the screen here you can see. Now, I didn't really know what he hinted on here. I don't really know what he was going on about. I'm really lost on this one, but like, if you guys want to do more research on it, and it's something about strawberry shift lob, I don't know what that even means, but that's kind of that, guys. So that is the general information. Now, this is one of the things you may not have seen in the previous one, and this is something that he posted, and I want to kind of go through again. So this is again from Puke. We're not sure if this is the main Puke that we were talking to originally, but he says here, "Hi again, guys. A few days ago, I opened the thread in regards to the script translations for Pokemon Switch. We are currently working on the first bunch of scripts, with the deadline approaching faster and faster. In a few days, I am going to meet my team so we can come up with a final document to send to our project manager. Then hopefully we'll receive the new script in late March. Attached, you can find some pages. Of course, I blanked out the text, but I think it is interesting for you to see how the whole thing works. On the top right, you can see that each page and translator team has an ID, whatever has an official or approved beta name in English or Italian for items is between squared brackets. Unknown Pokemon are just misses. In the second page, you can see that a battle is going on. Known moves and Pokemon get their Italian names in the script already. For a new move, we are free to suggest and translations, but of course, the final decision will not be up to us. I think they just may take inspiration from us. If you're curious about how the translation teams work, just ask, even if I've already discussed it a lot in the previous thread. And then you have the images themselves, and here they are. So you can see there is a mention of Miania, which is kind of like the Italian name they use for this new region, so to say. And now people have been saying like, oh, you know, you have every single Pokemon region has an O in it. So Kanto, Johto, Sinnoh, Hoenn, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, Alola, right? And this one is Miania. So the thing that what people are saying is like, this doesn't make any sense, because there should be an O in the name. But the reason why it doesn't have an O in the name is because it's an Italian version of the region name. Miania is in Italian specifically, because in Italian they write them differently, and that makes sense, and that fits with the way Italian region names work. So that's just the Italian version of it. Then you also have a Mrs., and then they have Caramella Rara, which Caramella Rara is just rare candy, essentially. And then you of course can have, you know, this whole page to translate here. I haven't really gone through everything, but we are going to sort of just translate this real quick. I'm gonna translate it now. I think it's gonna translate to English here. Here we go. So in the last hours, 4chan, a well-known discussion platform, has shown new information about the Pokemon games on the Nintendo Switch. These rumors were leaked through a document, photography by a source within the Italian translation division of the game. If the documents prove to be genuine, the guy who is disclosing this information anonymously would have access to scripts containing sensitive information. For the sake of news, we will sharing these images, even if a typical Nintendo signature instead of the Pokemon Company could represent proof of non-authenticity of the document. So they're saying here that just because the images themselves here, because either way, I hope you all did enjoy the video. I know it's very long. I do apologize about that, guys, but this is a rundown of everything, every single inch of this information here. So I hope you did enjoy. If you did, then drop a like down below. I'll see you all the next time. Have a great day, and bye bye, ladies and gentlemen.